There's no doubt that the holidays are hectic. Whether you're traveling, hosting, or simply trying to just get through the season, it can be a challenging time. But once all of the to-dos are done, hopefully there's a few hours to slow down and relax. If you're a pet owner, it can also be a great period to get some cuddles in and spend some quality time with your furry friend or feline companion. But during this season, it can be all too easy to want to treat your pet with some tasty foods. Practicing veterinarian Dr. Carol Osborne says it's important to be strict about what your pet is putting in their stomachs. Just because you're indulging in holiday sweets or savory foods doesn't mean that your animal should automatically do the same.
During the holidays, it's very tempting and leads to a lot of tummy upsets and unwanted trips to the pet ER.
Osborne is an integrative veterinarian and the owner of the Chagrin Falls Veterinary Center and Pet Clinic in Ohio. She says that if you do give your pet a small sample of something from the dinner table, choose these options.
If you want to share a bit of the holiday foods with your pet, and your pet is pretty healthy and isn't suffering from any, chronic liver, kidney, heart, etc. disorder, in most cases it's just fine. A piece of lean turkey is just as healthy for your pet as it is for you and I, along with some nice green beans, maybe a little bit of sweet potato, maybe even a little dabble of pumpkin pie if it's not all full of sugar. But the foods that you're going to throw out, like the turkey skin, the greasy things that you don't want to eat, those are the things that make most pets sick.
Other definite no-nos for your dog or cat are macadamia nuts, chocolate, and also coffee, which contains caffeine and can damage their heart. Any other items to keep an eye out for? Osborne mentions these commonly stocked holiday ingredients.
Alcohol, yeast dough, if you're making cookies with your kids and you got a chow hound, don't let them eat the raw dough because it rises in their tummy and then they get a great big stomach ache. And the breakdown product of yeast is alcohol, which isn't good at all. Grapes and raisins, that's huge. Just one grape or a couple of raisins can cause kidney failure in dogs. And that is something I have experienced more than once with my patients.
Another treat is when people give their dogs leftover bones from the holiday feast. It can seem like a good idea in the moment, but can result in emergency surgery if the bone breaks. While certain raw, frozen bones are fine, Osborne says stay away from cooked bones because they can splinter more easily and tear the stomach and intestinal lining. To be on the safe side, head to your local pet store, which offers a variety of differently shaped and sized bones for your dog. While you're at the store, an alternate option is dehydrated food. It's a tasty treat or reliable meal idea for pets.
They are the most palatable of all pet foods. They don't require any refrigeration or freezing or anything like that. They're just in a little bag. They're great for traveling, hiking, camping, and things like that. The disadvantage is that the cost is high, but the advantages are numerous. They come in all different kinds of flavors: chicken, turkey, beef, salmon, surf and turf, you name it. So the sky's the limit when it comes to feeding pets these days.
In addition to keeping a good diet, it's also important to visit the vet. Osborne recommends an annual appointment where animals get a general health exam and owners can address any concerns. Osborne says that countless clients over the years have asked if they should buy pet insurance. The decision is ultimately up to each person, but Osborne generally recommends against it. She says instead of paying extremely expensive monthly premiums, put the money towards an emergency savings fund for your dog or cat.
If you somehow end up with a pet that has some kind of a chronic hereditary or genetic condition or some horrendous health crisis, then if you have pet insurance, it will be a godsend. In my experience as a practicing veterinarian for many years, those are the exception as opposed to the rule. And that's why when people come in and ask me, for the most part, that's what I tell them. I say, if you have some extra money, throw it in a shoebox, and if and when something happens, you'll have plenty of money to take care of it. A lot of these insurance companies, the rates are not dissimilar from those that people pay. and I don't really know that the value is actually there.
If you do choose to get pet insurance, Osborne says read the fine print closely. Many policies do not cover pre-existing conditions or injuries that began before coverage. It's also likely that premiums will drastically increase as your pet ages.
The number of pet insurance companies has grown by leaps and bounds. And the reason that it's grown by leaps and bounds is because the amount of money they're making is in the billions of dollars.
So, as you start to think ahead to 2024 and begin to etch out some plans, one of those might be to add a new furry member to the family. Osborne has some advice around when exactly that should be.
I always say the worst possible time to bring a pet home is Christmas, New Year's, on someone's birthday, when the best time to bring a pet home is when absolutely nothing is going on, so that all the members in the home focus 100% on that new pet. And another big point I'd like to make is getting a pet is a very, very personal experience. You never want to give a pet as a gift. If you're tempted to, because your mom or dad are a good friend, a collar, a leash, a book for children, spending a couple hours at a local shelter volunteering, those are all great things to do to familiarize that individual with, again, the needs and requirements, behavior, different personalities of these different animals that when they come into your home are going to be a 15 to 20 plus year commitment that you need to be ready to stand behind.
To learn more about managing your pet's health and our guest, Dr. Carol Osborne, visit viewpointsradio.org. You can also check out her clinic site at chagrinfallspetclinic.com. For more behind the scenes, search Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, X, and Facebook. This segment was written and produced by Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price. Coming up on Viewpoints.
The big conglomerates have a more conservative aesthetics. There's fewer risks that they can take. Whereas these small presses, these independent presses, these nonprofits, they can take risks. They can do wilder things. They can be a little bit more creative.
Why you should care about the consolidation of publishing. Then,
and the doctor said, no way. He's like, I think you're fine. And I'm like, I'm really not. And if you think I'm fine, I'm going to go to another doctor.
How contraceptives could be causing a much larger problem. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.